Yeah, because Turkey seems to be really a noxious, malevolent player in all of this, where with respect both to Syria and to Azerbaijan.
And to Azerbaijan, because that's the other element to it, where Azerbaijan played an important element in, if you like, being a base for missiles fired during that, on the 13th of June, that attack on Iran, were fired from within Azerbaijan. And aircraft, Israeli aircraft, circled through the northern part of Iran to Azerbaijani airspace, and then took a dive down to the Caspian, where they were able to fire directly cruise missiles, standoff cruise missiles directly into Iran.
Yeah.
One of those was the ones that hit the, if you like, the deep meeting place of the National Council, the Security Council, the Supreme National Security Council of Iran, in which were the leaders, in which Pezeshkian was now sort of admitted that he was there and had to come out of one of the exits. It was done in the same way they'd done it in Nasrallah. They destroyed all the advents and what they knew of as the exit point, because Nasrallah actually started it. Yeah, they sort of buried that way, and they intended to do the same.
Well, what do you think is the foundation, the basis for the relationship between Israel and Azerbaijan, Aliyev? Because again, my understanding is that the CIA, Azerbaijan Baku, represents one of the largest CIA stations. So I'm not sure about bases, but at least a station in the region, because it's there to coordinate, if you will, both going after Iran and going after Russia. Mossad clearly has a presence. I don't know about British presence, but I would imagine it's there as well.
Yeah. Yeah, they have a defense attaché who was supposed to be there about 2 months ago, and he's coordinating much of this, I believe. I don't know, sure, but I think so. Look, you have to, I mean, this again, Turkey plays a very crucial part in this. And a long-standing Erdogan ambition to create a whole Turkic, or not Turkish, but a Turkic sphere, right up into Russia and even to parts of the mountainous area of Russia, where, according to him, Erdogan, this is the origins of the Turkic people. And so Azerbaijan has an element of the actual leadership, which is a very corrupt leadership, which is involved and has been involved in Russia, sort of gangs and crime syndicates and things in Russia for years, and it's not for that. The leadership is more Turkic, if you like, the Turkic Azeris, as opposed to the majority, which are Iranian Shia. So about, I think, 85% are Shia. It's always been a very secular state, but the Shia of Iran are the majority. Azerbaijan was a part of Iran until not so long ago. And so they are very much connected to Iran. But those are the areas of Iran and of parts of Azerbaijan, for example, fought with, of course, with Iran against Saddam Hussein in the Iraq-Iran war. I mean, they've always been loyal. They are all totally Iranian. I just give your listeners just one example, because I've heard Americans who are involved in the so-called Iran program say, oh yeah, but we've got all these minorities and they hate the leadership, and we've only got to give them a chance and they'll take it over. And the areas, I mean, there's like glass ceiling, they can't get up, above this glass ceiling, they're ostracized, and and I would say to them, well, there's one really quite famous person who actually writes very good poetry in the Azeri language. He's fluent. I mean, he speaks the Azeri, of course. And he's known more generally as the supreme leader. He is actually Azeri.
Yeah.
Where's your glass ceiling?
Yeah.
I mean, it is the supreme leader who writes Azeri poetry. So it gives you some sense that, it's not sort of clear cut and cut off and at all like that. So, I mean, I think that Iran has a huge hold over Azeri if it chooses to exercise ability to impose itself. I mean, Azeri is a temple on the map compared to the huge size of Iran.
Yeah, I don't know the what's the population of Azerbaijan offhand? I don't know offhand.
Nine million.
So there was someone saying that, oh yeah, Azerbaijan is going to invade Iran to take territory, and I'm thinking, are they suicidal?
But they do. But this is. I mean, this is a narrative. I mean, I promise you, this is what I've seen several times in this period of people saying, "Yes, don't you know the Azerbaijani is going to come in and take and invade Iran, and then the Kurds are going to do it from Erbil, and Iran will collapse." And I think, well, I mean, just look at the map.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and this was a province of Iran. I mean, it wasn't. They have roots and depth in that. But the Azerbaijan thing has got another complex thing, which you said is that Azerbaijan has this, as I say, the leadership, Aliyev and so on, are basically Turkic. Long ago, there was a Turkic element, and the Shia were there, and then that came in, and then it became very secular during the Soviet period, and it is now known for its crime syndicates, particularly deeply buried in Russia, and Turkey operates in this, and what they're trying to do, Turkey has this ambition to open this Zaltibor corridor. This is a tiny little corridor that goes through Armenia and could link Turkey directly with the Caspian. And that's what Turkey wants opened, and then it wants to go right up into China and extend the Turkic influence into Central Asia. I mean, this is like gold dust to Americans and British based in Baku, and they think, wow, we can use that against Russia and against Iran because, they are like this. But at the moment, Russia is, you probably see, I won't go into the details because but they've been throwing out Azeris from Russia. Deeply, there's a purge going on of Azeris from Russia. These are the criminal networks in Russia who've been there sometime. Why? Because the Russians say that it was these Azeri criminal groups that had played a part in facilitating the spider's web attack on Russia. The same thing that we had in Iran, where pre-positioning drones inside the country, preparing the sites for them to be used. In that case, it was preparing drones in Russia to attack the strategic bomber bases of Russia. And they think that these criminal units were part. So there's a purge. They're purging Azeris from the security services of Russia. And they hit back at Azerbaijan. You probably saw 2 Ukrainian refineries not so long ago. I can't remember exactly. Were destroyed.
Yeah, it was last week, and those I understand those were owned by actually Aliyev, the president.
That's right. They were owned by them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And also the Haifa refinery
right.
was not owned by him, but taking oil from Azerbaijan. It was again oil from Baku that was
Apparently,
fueling that. So it's lost two of the main sources of income.
well, in fact, the Haifa refinery, Stanislav Krapinski, who actually worked in the oil business. He was interviewed recently on the Duran, and he said that refinery is down. It's not going to be up for a while, maybe a month or two. So it suffered significant damage, which is got to be having a direct impact on the Israeli economy.
Exactly. But the point is here, to get back to the big picture, everything is being heated up. The Caucasus are being heated up. They're seen by the West as the soft underbelly of Russia, like Georgia and Azerbaijan, Armenia, which is trying to join NATO. All of this is a sort of soft underbellies. And furthermore, they have the networks inside Russia and the networks inside Iran to a certain extent. We can weaponize these people. So we have this going on at one stage, and we have, if you like, the weaponization of the ISIS element against the Shia of Syria and against the Hezbollah forces in the south. And, this isn't going to lead back to, the Abraham Accords 2.0. This is a nightmare because it's Israel and Turkey doing essentially in Syria, masterminding the attempt of getting Syria to be part of the Abraham Accords, and there'll be meetings going on in the UAE between Shah and the UAE officials talking about how to leverage Syria. Because what am I talking about? At the bottom line, what it has started is the old sectarian divide across the Middle East, or the Sunnis trying to drive out and weaken Shia influence. It's an old, long story, but basically it's still that sectarian. Look, Iran is not going to place its tanks on the front lawn of the Gulf states or do anything like that. What they fear is actually the fervor of Iranian Shias, the revolution. Iran has always had a revolution. That's what they fear. It's not because it's totally alien to their material, hedonistic lifestyle of the Gulf state, where actually people in Iran are prepared to sacrifice themselves literally, and to lose their life even for something that they believe in. It's totally alien to the other part. The Sunnis of those Gulf states are totally sort of preoccupied with the external, if you like, mark of Islam. You want to do it by wearing very pious clothes, and you pray 5 times a day. And if the Prophet said it be this way, it's in the same way. It's all the externality. Shiism is all about the internal. It's about the transformation of the self and of the consciousness.